Hey everyone, it's Kino here. Thanks for tuning in to Living the Yogis Life, where I share with you what it means to be a yogi in the world. When you're doing your practice, the deeper intention of yoga is to make you comfortable in your own skin. And that might seem kind of strange at first because you might feel like, well, wait a minute, I'm already in my skin. Like, what does that mean? When I first started the practice, I remember my first Ashtanga yoga class. I remember that I got to the end of the practice and it was really difficult and I couldn't do anything and I was kind of flopping around like a fish out of water. And then when I got to the very end of the practice and I was lying at the end and I was doing the sort of relaxation at the end, there was this sort of stillness. And it was a stillness that I really hadn't experienced for any substantive time in my life up until that moment. And it was like my mind and my body sort of came to this, again, this still point. And there was this sense of peace. And I kind of felt this, I don't know, this like innate sort of happiness, this kind of quiet happiness that I hadn't felt before. And that's the sort of deep potential of yoga. Now, over the last 15 years of my life, I've had moments where I felt that, and then moments where I'd sort of slide away from it. Moments where I felt like, wow, I feel good, I feel happy again. And then even though I'm doing the practice every day, moments where I'd, slide out of it again. So the promise of how yoga works is sooner or later, eventually, you come to this point, and I feel like it's taken me a long time, but it comes to this point where you surrender into who you are and you realize, you know what, this is me, this is who I am, and I'm whole and I'm complete, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to work hard to be a better person and to do the very best that I can in each moment, but you don't need to put anything else on top of yourself and you don't need to be anyone other than who you are. So there's a certain aspect of trust and surrender, and I feel like the whole yoga practice is really gearing us up for that final moment when you can say yes to yourself, you can say yes to all of your beauty and all of your love, and you can know that you're strong and you're capable and you're worthy of love. And then you'll finally feel comfortable in your own skin. You'll feel like, wait a minute, I feel good, I'm me, and that's enough. So this is the true potential of the practice. And I hope you experience that. It doesn't matter how deeply you do the poses, because in the yoga practice, what matters is how you're feeling on the inside. And if you can do some really advanced postures, like you can rock out some handstands, or you can put your leg behind your head, or you can do some deep back bends, but you're missing that inner experience, then the journey of yoga is not sort of reaching its full potential. So pause and take stock of sort of what your intention is when you get on your mat. And say to yourself, well, I'm coming here to learn to be comfortable in my skin, to experience the peace that is really your birthright, So I had an experience recently that kind of brought something into my attention that I feel like even when you come to yoga, sometimes we feel like, we have the wrong shape for the practice. And I recently spoke with a student who came up to me and she said that a yoga teacher had actually told her that she was too overweight to do the Ashtanga yoga practice, and that the teacher recommended she go on a diet and then come back when she was ready to do the practice. That was so upsetting for me. I was like, no, thank you so much. She came to my class, and primarily because she'd been inspired by my videos and posts, and I'm so happy that she came, because that is completely against everything that I've experienced in my own practice. It's completely against everything that my teachers had ever said to me, and it's ties right into the very body image issue that yoga, by making us comfortable in our own skin, seeks to actually eradicate or sort of eliminate. So everybody thinks that their body is not right for the practice, and we all have vulnerabilities and insecurities. So what can we do? You simply have to watch those thoughts and don't believe them. Don't believe a word of it. There are people who think, they're too tall for handstands, too big for back bends, too short to jump through. I thought pretty much all of things. Well, not the too tall part. I'm definitely not too tall, but I thought I was too short to jump back, and I thought my thighs were too big for back bends. In fact, when I started the practice, I actually had a teacher come up to me. She was trying to be helpful, don't blame her for it. She was trying to be helpful and sort of make my life easier. But she came up to me and said, hey, I see that you're really struggling in these handstands and these lift-ups. Why don't you quit trying because your legs are too big? I doubt you'll ever do that. And you know what? I almost believed her. I almost was like, you know what? You're right. Because when I was younger, much younger, I think 11 or 12 years old, somebody came up to me and sort of said that they thought that my legs were really big and that I should consider joining a sports team because I was getting a little chunky. So that kind of stuck in my head, and kind of for like my whole life I thought, you know, I have fat legs and my legs are too big. And I remember being a little girl and I used to stand in front of the mirror and dream that I had these like long skinny thighs, you know, like legs forever. And I used to like hold the backs of my thighs together and try to visualize a, you know, a smaller leg, like lop this part off of my leg or something. And you know what? That's a bunch of crap. And that's what I gotta say to any of you right now who are watching this, who think that your body is not good enough. You know what? Let's just all pause and see if we can love our bodies, because it is an honor and a privilege to have all four limbs, to have your brain, to have your body, to have your health. It is a privilege to be able to do your practice, and it doesn't matter, you know, what size, what shape you are. My teacher, Patabi Joyce, he said, every time someone asked him, oh, you know, am I too short to practice? Am I too old to practice? Guruji, Patabi Joyce would always say that the Ashtanga method is for everyone. Older people, younger people, heavier people, smaller people, tall people, short people, women, men, all different ethnicities. It's the common thing in yoga is that the only person, Guruji said, who couldn't practice was the lazy person. So as long as you can get on your mat, it doesn't matter what size or shape you are, how old you are, how young you are, how flexible, how stiff you are. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you get on your yoga mat. Yoga doesn't need to make you this like skinny, tall, you know, person. Someone just left me a comment on my Instagram the other day that said, wow, how tall are you? So I answered honestly, I'm 5'2", I'm not that tall. And their comment was, wow, that's disappointing. We thought with all that, or he said, it was a man, and he said, with all that stretching yoga, I would expect you to be taller. You know, sorry to disappoint, but I'm a small package and I'm not getting any taller at this point in my life. And I also, that was part of like my body insecurity, you know. I used to stuff myself into torturously high heels and try to make my legs look longer to try to give this appearance that I was taller. But you know what? I'm really comfortable in flip-flops. I really like sandals. I enjoy wedges and that sort of thing. But again, not to please anyone else, just really now to be comfortable in what I wear and to be comfortable in what I'm putting on, not to try to be tall and try to be 6 feet tall because that's going to be better for me or for anyone else. Your body is a divine gift. It is a divine creation, and the acceptance of your body in all of its beauty and in all of its imperfection is an aspect of faith, surrender, and trust. As though you're saying, I recognize that I'm created perfectly and I recognize my beauty exactly as I am. Every single person who's watching this has some insecurity. So don't feel like you're alone. I've heard and shared all of your stories. So many of you send me stories on Snapchat, on Instagram, and emails about the way that yoga has made you more comfortable and about how there are some aspects of yourself that you're so afraid to share, and I really commend you for being brave enough to share them with me. I love you so much, and I see your bravery and I see your strength, and I know that this practice is working because it's making you strong enough to accept and believe in yourself. So let's pause today. Love your body, love yourself, love the world around you. The day that you are 100% okay with you, the day that that permanent connection to the quiet voice of wisdom, which is God's voice in your heart, is established, is the day that you are free. I pray for each of you to have that day come soon. I pray for each of you to experience the direct connection to divine wisdom through the practice of yoga, so that you see and experience yoga's deepest potential. Tune in to my Instagram, my Snapchat to get your yogis assignments every day and shine bright, shine the message of yoga, shine the love of your body, the love of the world in every moment of your life, so that you can make your life a more peaceful place. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Namaste.